Hey guys, welcome back to Eric Reacts with more of The Dragon Prince. This is Season 2, Episode 5, Breaking the Seal. And our heroes are on foot again. We had the reappearance of Human Rayla last episode, and the double eye patch captain got them halfway before having to stop for a bit. And we saw Zim be electrically charged after being hit with the lightning. I don't know if that'll spur his growth a little bit, or we'll see what happens. Maybe he'll get more powers. Looking forward to seeing how he'll learn to his powers will progress. And I'm sure Callum will continue to try and get magical powers. But there's not much more else to say. Looking forward to what happens next. Curious to see what Soren and Claudia do with Corvus, and if they've caught up at all. Maybe they're caught up a little bit with the group. But I really want to get back into the show. So if you want to watch the full episode reaction with the footage, check out Patreon in the link in the description below. And let's begin. What is that huge thing he's on his back? It's a scroll teaching people jutsu.
Welcome. We were reassured when we received the scroll informing us that you would be the regent of Katalis until Ezran comes of age.
It is humbling to be trusted with the boy's education and training.
I apologize for my lateness.
Queen Anya of Doran.
Anya.
How you've grown. Welcome.
I speak for myself now, and
Wow.
for my people.
Yes, this is a very serious situation. I intend
Stop
no
talking down
offense,
to her.
but these issues require an adult perspective.
It seems I am a crown without an adult, and you're an adult without a crown. Let's just begin.
Ooh. Ooh.
well.
Pretty big power move. Oh. Wow.
On the night of the full moon, the Dragon Queen sent assassins, and they murdered King Harrow. An invasion is imminent. Even worse, there are reports of shadows in the clouds. Dragons flying high above the towns of Katalis.
Cool PowerPoint presentation, bro.
They will spread their wrath to all the human kingdoms soon enough. The time to stop Zadia is now. I call on you to join me, to join Katalis. Fight beside each other to drive back this threat.
About a full day of sailing ahead until we reach the shore.
A full day.
Rosen, wanna go count clouds again? Or we could nap.
Oh, he hasn't opened it yet. Hasn't told Ezra either.
If the other kingdoms agree to act in unity, we will commit to this alliance.
I am undecided.
This is why we need an adult.
I won't send my armies to face unknown danger based on a 2-minute speech. I may be a child, but apparently I'm the least impulsive of us all.
Ooh. Yeah.
Besides, I hardly call "we'll do what everyone else does" a decision.
Oh, very true.
He's got a fair point.
Yeah. Oh, man.
You are a young queen, but evidently far wiser than your years.
I have had to survive adults trying to usurp my throne, coups, conspiracies, and assassinations. But sometimes it's not the hard threats, but the soft threats that are the worst.
My 19-year-old doesn't know half the words you just said. He still fights back about eating his vegetables.
19-year-old.
Anya,
Did he have any
I
siblings?
remember the coronation as if it were only yesterday.
Oh.
I want to make a difference, Sarai.
Sarai.
You will. You be a champion of love and justice, and I'll be fighting by your side.
Aww. Look at their
It was a
awkward
beautiful
smile.
young king.
All of their
The
awkward
beautiful
smiles.
family.
Are we done yet? It looks pretty done to me. Ah, my official portrait. For history books and whatnot.
Stand
Why
beside
don't
me.
you join me, Viren?
But this is your official portrait as king.
Yes. And you should stand next to me, as I know you will stand by me through anything. I brought you a surprise.
Jelly tarts.
Jelly tarts in bed?
We are the king and queen now. We can do whatever we want.
They couldn't have jelly tarts in bed before. His hand stuck out and took it.
Oh, someone's inherited your sweet tooth.
Aww.
Why do I deserve this? What did I do except being born with everything?
You are humble, and grateful, and kind.
Lady Justice came to me in a dream.
Lady Justice, huh?
She was wearing her robes.
So a boring dream.
May I
A boring
continue?
dream.
Go on.
Aww.
True justice was a fair system. She said the blindfold gives us a way to test the system. That I should use it to imagine I had not been born yet.
Oh.
And that I did not know if I would be born rich or poor, what color my skin would be, what culture or practices my family would have. That a
Nice.
fair system should be fair no matter the accident of my birth.
Lady Justice is wise.
Yes,
And she didn't make any moves on you?
wise enough to know better.
He told me he thought of himself as a servant of all the people of Catalis. A servant king. They desperately needed King Harrow's help. Do you know who these unexpected guests were?
They were my parents.
Yes.
Oh my god. What the heck? Aww. Oh, bait feels replaced. Oh no.
Hey, can a guy get a couple minutes of below deck privacy around here?
Aww. No, call him back, call him back.
Hey, wait. Why don't you join me down here? I could use a little extra light.
Aww.
The kingdom of Duran has been suffering from a terrible famine for nearly 7 years. This winter, we will run out of food. And 100,000 people will die.
Then we will help you. The kingdom of Catalis will share all that we have with the people of Duran. I won't turn my back on people in need.
If you share with them, 100,000 people will still die. But half of them will be from our own kingdom.
We will share whatever we have with them. And we will share in their suffering.
I have been doing research.
Yes, I can see that.
There's a little
Poring
Claudia
over
like in that
ancient
section.
texts, maps, and
That moment.
archives, and I may have found a creative solution. It's a piece of a great monster, a rocky giant who lives high in the mountains. A magma titan. I can use the heart of the titan in a powerful spell that will warm the land and allow us to magically grow an incredible bounty.
Enough to feed 2 kingdoms.
Enough to feed 10 kingdoms. Of course, at the time, I was not the king's closest advisor.
Did he do something to her? Oh,
It's
that
a
was close.
mistake, Harrow.
We kill one monster to save 100,000 people.
Haiti.
Is it
It's a
intelligent?
bet.
What? What do you mean?
Does it think? Does it feel? Does it have a family?
Yes.
I sincerely doubt it has a family.
Then is it the last of its kind? You said you want to build a better world, to really change things. That's going to take decades of hard work. There's no monster you can slay and solve all your problems. There's no shortcut. This is going to be a very slippery slope.
It's our only chance.
I think this was in our marriage vows, right? Something about keeping you alive when you're acting like a brave idiot?
So we will enter Zadia at sundown. And we must return with the heart of the Titan before the first moments of the sun's rise.
Will these ballistas be able to take down a magma titan?
If our aim is true, we'll find the right spot and get the job done.
What?
What?
Amaya's hairstyle is cute. Caw.
We were ready for the fight of our lives. If it's dead, we don't need to kill it. We just open it up and take what we need.
How do they know it's dead and not sleeping?
There are words he hasn't said to me. They're
Oh.
all right in there. They're just waiting to come to life. But then once I read the last word, then he'll really be gone.
Are these connected somehow? Gee. It's coming back alive. Where's their ballista now? That's the end of the episode? Like, nothing was resolved. Oh my god. Wear it so that you're blind, so you don't know who you are, what you'll be when you wake up. And try to create a world based on that. The two of them. This is Harrow's. I didn't realize that this was slanted, actually. Sarai. She's gonna die in this flashback, isn't she? I hope Anya doesn't cave just because Viren tells her this story. I missed this entirely. I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna have to go back and look. Was this one of the necklaces one of the Anya's parents wore, or Sarai wore? I didn't pay enough attention, apparently. Oh my god. So Bait is actually has been around for a while too. Look at baby Ezrin. Oh, baby Ezrin. He reached out and took the jelly tart. That was funny. Sarai and Amaya. Wow. I can't believe... I don't know. I just feel so... I don't know how to explain how I feel about seeing them. It's both a very happy moment and also sad knowing Sarai dies. Amaya, I love her current haircut and I love her old haircut too. They're both really great. Oh, this is that... this is the son of that king who won't eat his vegetables. The 19-year-old guy who won't eat his vegetables. That's really funny. Alright guys, there's a lot to unpack in this episode. A lot of new characters we got to meet Sarai also. Oh, that was so great. But this is the first episode really where Callum, Ezrin, and Rayla aren't the main focus. I think we only saw Rayla throw up and like wipe her chin, and that was it. Like that was her entire part in the episode. Ezrin and Zim seem quite synced up. They were like taking a nap together and rolling around the same way, scratching their faces, doing whatever this was. Poor Bait, though, feeling left out. He used to be the one who slept with Ezrin, and Ezrin threw him away while he was sleeping. He didn't do it on purpose. But then Bait gets yelled at by Callum to leave him alone. But it was because he didn't know it was Bait, and he softens and asks Bait for his company and his help. So I hope Bait doesn't get left behind. Zim is adorable, but Bait has been with Ezrin since he was a baby, as we saw in one of those drawings in the credits. And Callum struggles with opening the seal of the letter because it would be like acknowledging that his stepfather really is dead. But he does open it at the end of the episode. And I'm just like, oh, I want to see what happens already. And Callum still hasn't told Ezrin that Harrow is dead. I don't know how long they can keep that up. Not till the end of the season, right? That feels like a long time. But it turns out Viren also snuck a line into his letters to all the leaders that he is acting regent until Ezrin comes of age, even though that has not been decided. I'm really glad that Anya wound up being so intelligent and rightfully skeptical of Viren. He has like a 2-minute PowerPoint presentation where he fearmongers everybody, and they're just all cool with going to war. Like, I get King Harrow was killed, but he had a role to play in the death of Thunder, the Dragon King. You can't just eye for an eye forever, and the other leaders don't even have all the details before deciding, oh yeah, maybe let's all attack in unison. They don't know that there have been no further attacks on the human kingdoms. My main point is, even if maybe going to war with Zadia is the right move, you don't make that decision in minutes. And Anya is right. Like, I hardly call, I'll do whatever everyone else does, a decision. Like, she's honestly the wisest leader there by, like, a big margin. Her parents taught her so well. When she stands up to Viren, he starts showing or feigning respect for her, and she immediately understands that he's trying to butter her up. Same move Soren and Claudia used with the princes. Like he says, evidently you are wise beyond your years, and then she goes and talks about how soft threats can be more dangerous than hard threats, sweet words can be more dangerous than hidden daggers. So as soon as Viren is trying to manipulate her by telling her how smart and wise she is, she tells him straight to his face in a very subtle way that, I'm not buying your crap. I know you're just using sweet words to try to manipulate me. And the king of Neolandia, Aling, he was so funny. My 19-year-old doesn't know half the words you just said. He still fights back about eating his vegetables. Yeah, I worry about Neolandia if his son is like that. His son sounds like a man-child. But what he said definitely prevented any tension. Like, Anya was clearly telling Viren, I can see that you're trying to manipulate me. And Aling might actually be more intelligent than he comes off, because he might have said what he said just to diffuse the tension, which would be very impressive. I don't know if I'm giving him too much credit, though. But it was cool to see all the leaders. But yeah, it was very fun. I actually think Viren tried to make it seem like he was wary of Anya's youth and experience. What I think he was actually worried about was that because she was younger, she has not had as much of the anti-elf, anti-Zadian propaganda drilled into her entire life. He's afraid she'll be weak against the Zadian threat because of that. And yeah, I really love what the episode did in introducing Anya's parents. They were LGBTQ. They were either lesbians, bisexual, or trans, or one of them was trans. And the show didn't point it out at all, it just was, and that's such a great way of doing representation. I've gotten into it with people about the lack of characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe who are LGBTQ, and they were like, oh, if the gay people want their own movie, they should make their own movie. A movie with gay character isn't going to make money in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Which, okay, so many things wrong with that argument, but look how easily and seamlessly it was done in this episode. Did it interfere with the telling of the story? And it didn't, obviously. And did it upset people? Okay, probably, but did it upset any reasonable people who aren't homophobic, biphobic, or transphobic? Like, I don't see any way they could have. So I'm talking about like the inclusion of these characters in the MCU, and it doesn't, just because a gay character, a LGBTQ character is in a work of fiction does not make the work of fiction about that. It's frustrating. Okay. But yeah, Anya has some great lines. She's one of my favorite new characters. Like, when Viren was just like, you were just a child, or like, we need an adult. She's just like, it seems like I am a crown without an adult, and you are an adult without a crown, so let's just get started. Sassy little queen. And she's resisted being controlled by people who would take advantage of her and has avoided attempts on her life. That's another reason I think Viren is very wary of her. She represents what Ezran could be as king of Katalis. His argument to Soren to get him on board for killing the princes was that Callum and Ezran are boys and will make stupid and, more importantly, weak decisions, and Anya is proof that he could be wrong. She's kicking his butt up and down this court in front of the other leaders. It's just so well written, just so many layers there. And Aling said earlier that he's glad Viren is regent till Ezran grows up, but Anya could potentially sow some doubt into people's minds about whether or not Viren should be in charge until Ezran is of age. The thing is, I am a little afraid that Viren will get Anya on his side with his story about her parents, and they're asking for help from King Harrow. It's more manipulation, but there is also truth and about the solidarity between Katalis and Durin in that story, so we'll see what happens. The flashback, that was amazing. I don't think they would necessarily include so much of it if these events weren't relevant or like very significant to the current story in some way. Like, Amaya and Viren are supposedly the only ones left from that flashback. Harrow might still be alive. You don't trust anyone is dead unless you see them die on screen. So yes, he might be the bird. But it feels like there's a bigger point to this flashback story. But this is all very heartbreaking to watch because we know Sarai dies. And I don't know if she dies here, and Anya's parents, do they die here as well? It would make sense given what Harrow says to Viren at the beginning of last season. His words mirror Sarai's words in this episode, that black magic is a shortcut. I have to imagine Anya's parents didn't die until later, though, because she was obviously raised very properly, and I can't imagine... This was 9 years ago. I can't imagine her being queen at the age of whatever. I don't know. But yeah, I loved their inclusion of the blindfold in the story, in the flashback. I looked it up. Turns out I already learned about it, but I had completely forgotten about it. So it's based on a real philosophical concept that they use to figure out morality on certain issues called the Veil of Ignorance. The show even mentions the Lady Justice, which is where the Veil of Ignorance is most famous. The statue that wears the toga and has a blindfold and then is holding a sword in one hand and scales in the other. And the blindfold means what it does in the show: close your off to your connection to this world, and imagine you could be anybody living in this world when you wake up. Like, what can you do to improve society so that no matter who you are when you open your eyes, you'll be okay? And I think that's also still like a little selfish way of thinking about it, because you're like, oh, like you have to think like, oh, what wouldn't I want to go through? Whereas you just try to sympathize and empathize with people, right? It's not that hard. But yeah, I think 99% of United States politicians do think it's that hard, because they could try a little harder with this, putting themselves in other people's shoes. Granted, a lot of the new faces after the midterm elections late last year are much more compassionate. But yeah, true justice is a fair system that allows everyone fair opportunities. And our world doesn't seem to know that, really. And yeah, that was just... I really loved that inclusion of the blindfold in this story. Sarai also argues against killing the Magma Titan. I think it would have been a perfect moment to mention the blindfold again. Like, what if you woke up and you're the Titan or its children? But, I mean, it's hard to say. Like, it's hard to say where the line is, because... if you extrapolate that, is Sarai like a vegan? Is she a vegetarian? I don't know. Viren also said that Harrow considered himself a servant king, though, and that paints Harrow's actions in season 1 in a completely different light. If you remember my reaction to it, I talked about how Harrow forced Viren to his knees and made him pledge that he was a servant of the kingdom of Katalis. I was just like, geez, that is harsh, because I thought he was trying to tell Viren that Viren is a servant to Harrow. But the fact that he saw himself as a servant too changes everything. So context is everything. I also love how they portrayed Sarai and Amaya with like such dirty minds. It's so entertaining. Sarai was just like, oh, you had a dream about Lady Justice? She was clothed? Aw, boring. And then when Harrow was talking about the ballistas and how it can kill the Titan, he says, if our aim is true, we'll find the right spot and get the job done. And Amaya signed a sex joke to Sarai, and I looked it up, and it was basically like, hey, find the right spot and get the job done. So, I'm not going to explain the innuendo there. But yeah, this was an incredible, incredible episode. I think this might have been my favorite episode yet. But as always, if you want to check out the next episode, or you want to watch the full episode reaction with the footage for this episode and the next, I've already posted them both over on Patreon. Be sure to like, comment, and share all that good stuff, and subscribe so you can check out next week's episode. And thanks for watching. Bye, friends.